The journey of agriculture does not just, we know that it does not just end at cultivation, so it also looks at the exploration of markets and also how looking at the value chain. So tonight we are going to look at that, and with this, we warmly would like to welcome our three speakers. We have who come from a diverse background in agriculture and food and nutrition sphere. We have Kanangwa Newlove, an organic farmer and health food enthusiast from Zambia. We also have Jacobina, also known as Penny Lumambo, an organic health-conscious backyard farmer in Windhoek. And then we have Maria, a geoscientist from Rundu, who's passionate about indigenous food and African markets. Our speakers will share their experiences and insights and innovation approaches to navigating markets while adding substantial value to organic and indigenous products. Like I mentioned, the program tonight will have presentations from our three speakers, and then we'll have a panel discussion afterward, which will also comprise of a Q&A session. Also, please just note down while we're going through the presentations or the speakers' presentations, just note down your questions. We'll give an opportunity for them to be asked and answered during the panel discussion.
Well, I am very excited to be in Windhoek for the first time. I can't even pronounce it. That's how unfamiliar I am with this beautiful country. So I'll just give a short introduction of who I am. My name is Kanangwa. I am an organic farmer from Lusaka, Zambia. And my journey started, I always say that my journey started when I was 5 years old. And it began with a traumatic experience that I had when I unknowingly ate my pet cow at my grandmother's farm. And I've lived with that trauma all my life. And when I was 9 years old, I decided to start growing my own vegetables because I thought that my parents, God rest their souls, they were not cooperating with me, that I did not want to eat my friends anymore. So I began to grow vegetables when I was 9 years old. At one point I did fantastically well. I grew so many vegetables, so much so that, we ate and ate and ate, and my parents decided to give to all our neighbors in our streets. So then the journey continued, and I had a child, and then I thought, well, I must give this child good food. And then I began to farm organically at my current farm in 2008. And here I am. I have worked in a few companies. I have a lot of experience in sales and marketing. I'm also a qualified teacher of English as a foreign language, so please speak your English very well today. I will correct you. Yes, but I have a lot of years experience in sales and marketing and operations. I had the opportunity of working with one of Zambia's largest organic food producers called It's Wild, where I ended up being their head of operations. And then recently I had the great opportunity of training with IFORM. So I am an ecological organic agriculture leader for Southern Africa, and I'm based in Zambia for that. And that was the project by the Knowledge Hub for Southern Africa, Knowledge Hub for Organic Agriculture in Southern Africa. So yes, I am very privileged to be here to talk about beyond production. I liked what the previous colleague said, that farming just doesn't end at production. A farmer knows that they are in this so that they can take their produce to market. So I'll just delve now into my short presentation. And I hope everyone can hear me, and I hope everyone can take notes so that we can have a lively discussion afterwards. It would be nice. So today's talk is Beyond Production, Exploring Markets and Adding Value to the Organic and Indigenous Products. Could we just, very, very important topic for someone who was in sales for a long time. Actually, in America, the most successful people are sales executives. They get so wealthy, but they live such a short time because sales is quite, yeah, so if it's the men, apparently they leave millions and millions of dollars behind for their widows because sales and marketing is not an easy feat. And I'll just show you how. So basically when you begin to market or to sell your products, you have to master your 4 Ps. Now, with all these advancements, as it happens in every discipline, now you get into some books and they say 6 Ps. For me, what I learned is the 4 Ps. The 4 Ps are your product, your place, your price, and your promotion. So basically, in these days, the place would be on the internet, social media, etc., or it will be in a shop, it will be in the streets, wherever. The product, think very carefully about your product is where you're going to sell it, what the price will be, and how you're going to promote it. That means marketing. And then when you're thinking of selling or marketing a product, you have got to decide to be an entrepreneur. In my opinion and experience, an entrepreneur is one that fills a gap in the market. You go into the market, you identify a gap, and you fill that gap thoroughly. So yeah, you're an entrepreneur. Then you have to push your value proposition. By this, it means that, so let's assume there are 1 million marketeers who are selling papaya, right? And you have passion for papaya. What are you going to do? You're not going to be the 101 marketeer who is selling the papaya. What you're going to do is, you're going to come with your papaya, right? The 101 selling papaya, but a different way. Either you're going to have an attractive store, either you're going to give more information about papaya, either you're going to do dried papaya so that it lasts longer for the consumer. You know your value proposition. What are you bringing into that market that's already flooded by papaya? What is your value proposition? What are you bringing that's different? Very, very important thing to think about. And then you also have to know the competition. Who else is out there? It's 100 marketeers who are selling papaya, but after 2 days, their papaya rots, and then they run out. Now you, as an entrepreneur, you have seen a gap that after a short time, the papaya runs out because it's out of season. But you're going to dry it, you're going to make it into powder, etc., and you're going to have the papaya all the time throughout the year, right? So you have to know what you're selling. This is a veggie box from our farm. This is one of our top-selling products, veggie boxes to individuals. This is one of our value propositions. Remember what I was saying? Our value proposition is that we deliver veggie boxes based on what a customer wants. So we send a list out, and they tell us what they want, and we deliver to their doors. So that's our value proposition. Someone doesn't want to go to the supermarket because they don't have time. Someone doesn't want to the market because they don't have time. So we give them that value proposition of delivering their veggie box to them. That's one. Of course, the other one is automatic, that we're organic. Yeah, so very important to create a strong agroecological organic brand. So basically you have to ask, who are you? Very important question. In your quiet time, ask yourself, who are you first of all? What are you bringing on the table, right? As I said, the sales and marketing field is harsh. It is a concrete jungle. I spent many years traveling on the roads and in the skies of Africa looking for market. It is a hard job. You have got to answer these questions thoroughly before you delve into it. But when you do it right, you get it right, and you're going to have a fantastic product on the market. Who are you? Ask yourself that question. No one else can answer this. Why are you doing this? Are you filling a gap? Do you want to get rich? Do you want to buy a plane? Whatever the reason why you're doing it, answer it within yourself truthfully, and that will tell you whether or not to continue. For who? Who wants this product? So let's assume, you have a passion for, earrings, right? You love earrings like I do. And then you decide you're going to sell earrings, right? Then you go to this big market, everyone is there, and nobody buys them, right? That's going to be very frustrating for you because you haven't answered the question, for whom, right? So very, very important, before you do this, you have got to do some kind of market research. And market research need not be expensive. A market research just involves you taking a walk in the aisles of the supermarkets, taking a walk with a little paper and asking people, would you buy this? Would you be interested in this? At what price, etc. Do that little research and you are going to know whether or not that product will be viable. So I think I talked about this. Who else is out there? What is the competition out there? So if you know your competition, you are going to be very, very successful for one reason. Actually, in some very developed markets, before people decide to go into the market, they actually go for drinks with the competition just to find out what's going on, right? It's like, going to bed with an enemy so that you know who's out there, what the problem is. That's very important. I used to do it when I was in corporate. I would invite a fellow sales manager and have a drink with him or her and just get to know what's going on before we develop a product. Because if you're going to develop a product and that product fails, then the bricks are going to fall on you. And then another important point is define the tone. A scholar in America said, if you followed President Obama's campaign trail, when he went to talk to the military before he was elected, he spoke like a military person. And when he went to talk to college students, I don't know if you remember, he went and spoke like a college student. I remember once he wore his hat back to front, like our colleague there. Yeah, because he had to define his tone, like be what the audience you want to be, right? Be like them. That way it sells. So when he spoke to mothers and fathers, he went there as a mother and father. So define your tone. Who are you selling to? So if you're going to sell sugar, right? Who are you going to sell sugar to? You're going to sell sugar to the parents. If you're going to sell candy, lollipops, right? You are going to go into the schools and dangle that lollipop, and the children are going to go home and say, oh my God, there was this fantastic lollipop, right? Yeah, I remember in my country, after you've been in sales, right? There's this big supermarket, actually it's a South African chain, ShopRite. And right in front of it, when you come out of ShopRite, there's a big toy shop. You know why? It's obvious. Because when the parents are coming, wheeling the trolley with their kids in there, the child is going to shout, Mommy, Daddy, I want a toy. Oh, that's it. Yeah, there's no way that the parent is going to refuse. Yeah, so define your tone. If you're going to sell to upmarket women, define your tone. Use the language that I understand. If you're going to sell to older women, from, a different generation, you can't go, with a different. Then, spend some money and time on developing your brand, right? And that comes from answering those questions. Who are you, why, and for whom? Then when you spend money and time, you'll have answered all of these questions. And you'll have said, okay, so it was very interesting. I'll share a little story. When after we developed our logo, right? There's someone else who came out with this logo, and we saw it online, and we're like, hey, that's kind of like exactly our logo. But you know what happened? He went to the same designer that did our logo, but unknowingly, he took the logo and stuff like that. But he didn't check the competition, obviously, right? That's why there was that problem. Yeah, so another thing that's very important is you have to think big. Sit there, think about your products being in Harrods. Sit there and think about your products being in every hotel in this country, but begin local, right? Think big, but begin local. Don't now take a big leap with a big truckload of products, right? And you take it across the border to Zambia and nobody buys it. Meanwhile, you've paid customs and duty and everything. Start local, small truck, then you get to a big refrigerated truck. Before you know it, you're across the border. And the way that is an organic type of growth of anything. And then be your brand's twin. So if you are going to sell vegetarian products because you believe in it, you've told your story, you have given your pitch, you have got some money, right? And then behind, you go to a big party, you're eating big chunks of meat, and the person looking at you is like, but no. Be your brand's twin. If you believe it, right, are you going to buy that product? So let it reflect. So if you believe in natural products and people see you using a natural product, I think you're not going to be believable, are you? Yeah, so be your brand's twin. And then what's the gossip? This is very interesting. When you walk out of the room, what do people say about your brand? So some people be like, oh, wonderful, in your face, right? And then when you leave, they're like, oh, goodness. Yeah. So very, very important to answer these questions. Spend some money and time, right? So in my country, I'll show you in another picture. In my country, people are very critical about brands and smaller brands coming on, right? And so one day, we'd run out of our usual packaging, right? We usually package our products in paper. So this day, we had sale, and we packaged in plastic. There was a big hoo-ha, I mean, on the one hand, they're organic, on the other hand, do you know what I mean? So we were not our brand's twin, right? Of course, we had a ton of bricks on us because we're not our brand's twin. We learned the hard way. But of course, we came back. What is the gossip? Yeah, in your face, very nice product. Behind your back, nice product. But you have got to go through these steps. There's no two ways about it. For us, what we believe in is from the farm to the fork. We keep our word. We're going to grow your products organically, and we're going to put it on the shelf, right, in the most organic and most ecological way, and we're going to put it, well, whichever way you cook it, we believe that organic products actually are very tasty. So here we are, that's our farm in Lusaka, and that's one of our shelves in one of the local supermarkets. And that's a plate from a customer who sent it to us of the meal that they had prepared. So we're very, very proud of this, that they didn't buy the food from that shop, they bought from another shop, but nevertheless, they bought our food, and we were very excited. And we spent a lot of time. Our motto is there's no planet B, buy organic now, right? So we're very serious about our brand. Our brand speaks for itself. And if that is the journey that you want to take, you have got to go back to this and read about it and develop a brand that you believe in after you answer those questions. I'm not going to answer the questions for you. The books are not going to answer the questions for you. Only you are going to do it. Now, can you imagine, someone was saying for many, many years, Coca-Cola has been in business for decades, right? But they still advertise, right? Very, very important to advertise yourself. And the one thing that we have found, the best form of advertising is actually the word of mouth. So if you do it right, your presentation is right, if your tone is right, if you answer the questions of who you are, why you are doing it, who else is out there, etc., you're going to get it right.
So our next presenter is Jacobina Penny Lumambo, who's not only an organic enthusiast, but she's also a gardener who's committed to entrepreneurship and dedicated to reducing food waste.
My name is Jacobina Lumambo. I have no official background in agriculture, but it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. So there's Jacobina, the urban gardener, and then there's Tatsu's Garden, that's my small business. So my big issue with the food industry is waste, food waste. Unfortunately, we have farmers and companies that are related to the food industry that if they're unable to sell what they're producing or what they are planning to produce, they let it either rot or they throw it away, which for me is a crime in a sense, because you put water, time, seeds, fertilizer into this produce. For you to just grow something and throw it away, where, especially here in Namibia where there's people that are hungry, I feel like that's not something that we should do. So I am big about food waste, and I'm also big about finding innovative and eco-friendly ways of dehydrating majority of my produce. So I buy surplus produce from a farmer or anyone who's growing, and I convert them into powders. So one way of converting the produce into powders is a solar dehydrator. So this is just an example of the solar dehydrator. I think we can go next. So this is the current range that I have to sell. So we have fruit powders and we have vegetable powders. Each powder has its benefits for you. For me, why I started to garden in the first place is I was diagnosed with a disease called endometriosis, which is majorly about inflammation of the body. So through many years of medication and surgeries, I decided I need to find a way to heal my body through alternative ways. So one way was turmeric. I grew my own turmeric, I grinded it up, and I have a powder, and that's something I take every day, twice a day, and that helps with the pain that I am experiencing. So I have family members that have high blood pressure, have diabetes, so I always recommend turmeric, prickly pear, beetroot, spinach is not here, for something that they can easily take. Whereas if you were to go to a shop, you would buy maybe a bunch of vegetables and make a juice out of it. But with powders, you take 1 or 2 teaspoons a day, and that's enough, because the product itself is concentrated. So Tatsu's garden started with my mother's garden. She established a small garden, and I expanded onto it. Next picture. This is the next picture. So as you can see, I've added small buckets for small trees. I've added some garden boxes to grow small amounts of vegetables. And I think we can go to the next photo. We can see that it started small here with small variety of different types of vegetables and herbs. And then that's one example. And then I expanded it, so unfortunately we live in a country where it's very hot and it's very difficult to grow a variety of types of vegetables. So one way for me was to introduce a drip irrigation at the back, I think you can see there, into the pot, so we use less water. And then I think we can go to the next picture. Add a shade net on top to protect the plants. So that's one way of urban gardening. You shouldn't limit yourself to, oh, I need a farm in order to grow something. Each space that you have there's a possibility of growing what you want. I think we can go to the next picture. Next picture. So that's an example of the peak of my season, how much I can grow in such a small space. So I have turmeric, I have chilies, I have herbs, I have onions at the back of that section. Small space doesn't mean that you can't grow. So garlic in small amounts in small garden boxes are also an example. Don't limit yourself to small. Don't think that your small spaces will limit you. It's always a possibility to grow in a small area. I think we can go to the next slide. So with small spaces, sometimes you can't expand lengthwise. So vertically is also an option to grow. So easily going into places to buy small pounds of wood and string, you can build yourself a trellis. So this would allow you to grow your cucumbers, pumpkins, and beans to climb upwards. So I think we can go to the next picture. So that's an example. I have Korean melon just sort of climbing upwards. So that's one option for you to do. Then we have different types of yard beans and pinto beans. So that's another example. So obviously our sun is a problem. So I decided to build a shade net just to protect some of the plants. And then I quickly shifted to sort of an upward trellis. So the beans would climb upwards and then climb over and then come down. So that's one option of growing vegetables for yourself and your friends and your family. I think we can go to the next one. So these bags are easily found at agricultural shops. I have interlock everywhere, but I am growing different types of pumpkin in these bags, and I will sort of slowly trellis them upwards, and then therefore grow my own different variety of pumpkins. And then we have drip irrigation as an example. I think we can go to the next picture, yeah. So this is the cracky method where it's just water, there's no soil. So if you're worried about soil, there is another way of growing vegetables with a bucket, plastic bucket, that you can reuse every year. So I think we can go next. So that's just one example. So as you can see, the roots, the roots touch the water, and the water slowly decreases and the roots follow. So that's just one example of growing urban gardening, basically. So I think we can go next. So these are just examples of what I'm growing. We have small amounts of space of soil where we grow papaya trees and lemon trees. So there's a papaya and a lemon tree in that area. Sweet potato, as you can see, it just expands everywhere. Rosemary, marigold flowers are very important for our pollinators. I think these are just examples of what you can grow in a small space. Lemongrass, different types of lemons, garlic, beans. I'm not a farmer, I am an urban gardener. So these are just examples of what I am able to grow in one short season. So I think we can just slide through. So we have tomatoes, different types of Roma tomatoes, fennel, chilies, I'm a very big chili grower. I think we can just go to that, yeah. Lemons, winter we collected 230 lemons, so it's a possibility. Cucumbers, guano melons, peanuts, hibiscus, roselle, carrots, yard beans, another different type of pepper, peppers again, and eggplants, peppers again, spinach, and turmeric, different types of turmeric. So I feel like even though we're in the city and we have not large spaces, we can find innovative ways of growing fruits and vegetables, not only for ourselves, but also for our families. Yes, so my message to people is, even though we have a country that produces so much, we need to find innovative ways of finding perishable produce into extending their shelf life. So with Tatsu's Garden, I want to at least find one innovative way of saving food for not only me, but for the whole of Namibia. And then with my urban gardening is just to show people that even though majority of us don't have large pieces of land, we can grow vegetables and fruits for ourselves, especially in the economy that we have today. Okay, thank you.
Our next presenter is Maria Shipapo. She's an indigenous food enthusiast from Rundu, and she'll give an introduction to herself and give her presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and for being part of the audience online and in person. So I am the co-founder and CEO of MIST Agricultural Laboratory. We are based in the Kanangwa region in Rundu. We have 4 technical departments where, like an agricultural laboratory, we do soil testing, we do integrated pest management, research. Then our 4th department is food. We started our laboratory in 2018. It's been a long, slow journey. But yeah, we've been able to do a lot of work with especially rural subsistence farmers with our soil testing. And so our soil department does, with the results we get from the soil testing, we recommend various crops. We recommend rainwater harvesting techniques. And then pest management, it's integrated pest management. Trying application of pesticides should be the last resort. There are a lot of other interventions you can do beforehand. And then research is mostly where the birth of this indigenous products came from. So when we started in 2018, 2019, we couldn't secure funds from a bank to get all the equipment we wanted in the first place. So we started brainstorming with my team, like, what are we going to do to get revenue? And we were looking at, we're in the Kanangwa region, we have an abundance of products that come from the forest throughout the year. You know, every season we get the mangeti, we get the monkey orange, we get the Kalahari potberry, rosewood, just to mention a few. And these are available in abundance. They come from these huge timber trees, and one can produce about 500 to 1,000 kilograms of produce. So why not process this and generate revenue and slowly but surely get our equipment. So that was now 2019 when we started looking at indigenous products. So in this journey, we realized especially the importance of working with our local communities. First of all, we went to talk to the communities, the elders, and try to find out what can we make from these products. From going backward, like going back to how they used to survive back in the day. And we got a lot of recipes, and a lot of breakthroughs that we came through were from talking to the elders in the communities. And also respecting your value chain. You're working with food, it's very, very sensitive. So you want to make sure even the ladies that are collecting the produce from you, for you, doing it in sanitary ways, so that by the time it gets to your product and you started value addition, you don't get contaminated products that are going to, result in a mass recall because it's making people sick, or it has been contaminated one way or another. So we identified 2 groups of women in the region that we've trained them on food safety, sanitary ways of handling food, even as you're collecting it from the forest. Things like if you are having a flu, don't come to work. Put on your hairnets, gloves, everything. So we did all of this, but again, it's just to understand and respect the value chain of your products. So one of the most fascinating products we've ever worked with is the rosewood bean. So in our efforts, because you're young, you want to rush and get all this money quickly and buy your equipment and just get started. So we thought, and from our talks with our elders, we were advised that. So the rosewood bean, it's this little red one here, and it has an arrow, like a skin, an outer skin. We call it nchiwi back at home. And the red part is edible. You can eat it as a sauce or as a soup. And then the inside part is the bean. So the bean produces flour that can be used as maize meal. And we're thinking, if we can, maize meal is so expensive now, but if we can process this product that we collect quite affordably from the forest, and we produce 50 kilograms, we can even sell it at half the price, and generate our money quicker. So that was really, really, when you have an idea, let's do this, and then you get started. And then so the rosewood bean is a very tricky, very interesting, I still love this so much. It's a bean, like, okay, let me show you. So it's a bean like this, and then when you open it, there's like a colorless liquid inside. So if you process the flour with that liquid still in, it's like a liquid, but not a liquid, it's a type of gel thing. If you process the flour with the liquid in, it cuts the shelf life. In about 2 to 3 days, the flour starts to spoil. And you can't sell a 50 kg flour that's gonna spoil after 2 days. So we started this journey with my team on how can we remove this gel and process the flour and sell and make our money and get our equipment, because at the end of the day, we just want our equipment and our lab to be fully operational. And we tried, it was, I think, for more than 2 months. We tried this, we tried that. It was not working because it was honestly such a tricky thing. And then one day, honestly, this happened in a dream. I woke up, I dreamt it was physical chemistry, my physical chemistry manual. And the first page was adsorption. And I was like, oh my God. And by the time this dream came, and then I talked to my team, and we started exploring these other products we were looking at to actually absorb the gel from the beans. By then we'd already documented so much information, like, no, if we prepare this product this way, the shelf life is this long, and and then we started, in any case, so we found a way to speed up, to remove the gel, extend the shelf life of the flour, but then we also realized that we collected so much data and information that can be used for so many different things. Yes, so we can go to the next one. So then with this, we've developed what we are referring to as an indigenous foods framework, because the way we were documenting our data with the rosewood, we started doing it with everything, the mangeti, the Kalahari podberry, all these 6 indigenous products that we were working with. And we've gotten so much data and so many, like a framework that can be used, we can sell it to other laboratories to help them test indigenous foods and develop with product development and recipe development. So it's just been such an exciting journey for me and my team. And yeah, this is like one of my pride and joy, the indigenous foods framework. But this all came from this beautiful rosewood chiwi bean that has just, honestly, it's just been amazing. So we can go to the next one. So, lately there are a lot of products, young people that are embracing indigenous foods. With the embe jam, like this marula jam, marula oil, marula mtete juice, all these things that are coming up. And I would just like to encourage, especially the young students in here, that we must look at what we can do with what we have, like as this young farmer has done, and also look at the indigenous products. They are climate change friendly. They don't require irrigation. They are in abundance throughout the year. You're blessed, by the Heavenly Father. All these many different products. And let's talk to our elders. They are a wealth of knowledge. One of the products that helped us extend the shelf life was from talking to our elders and saying, we're struggling, we are not finding a way to do this. And they're like, have you tried, sand? Have you tried, all of these things? And you're like, these are the things that we actually get taught in university. You just look at it as sand because you think, sand is dirty. But sand is silica. Sand is a high specific heat capacity. So that's one of the things that I want us to also try to embrace, like trying the science of, tying science to our tradition and culture, because we are moving too much into the urban and leaving behind what wealth, has brought us here in the first place. So let us embrace all of this and let us tie it together. And yes, talking about Africa and our indigenous products and our cultures, the African Free Trade Continental Area, the AFCFTA, is here, and I'm so excited about it, because if we are opening up our borders for other products to come in, that means our products can also go out there, and there are so many entities that are trying to support, especially women and youth-led organizations, to access funds, develop your products, upscale, and trade with each other. Why are we not trading with each other as easily? But it's here, FCFTA is here. And we can take advantage of it. One of the independent youth bodies, the Ikoyaka, was setting up a chapter in Namibia for young people that are actually serious about trying to see how we can, get export ready, how can you get your product, branding, marketing, all of these things. But you need to be organized in a group. You need to be organized, even when you want to develop your product, maybe you have an idea at home, there's an abundance of marula products, and you and your friends want to start seeing what you can do with it, organize yourself in a cooperative, organize yourself in a group, because, for example, Afrexim Bank, the Africa Export-Import Bank, they are looking for these opportunities, young people that are passionate and ready to process and value add, but they can't just give money to Maria alone as an individual. But the 6 of us organize in a cooperative, our documents are ready, we're registered, they can support entities like that. So let's look at things like this, jobs are hard. I started Mistal because of, I didn't get a job. And look at where we are at. I'm not saying we're multimillionaires or whatever, but at least it's something that's keeping you busy. I'm making use of my expertise. I'm making use of what is available around me. I've been, honestly, if you would have spoken to me 10 years ago and asked me what was I going to be doing, I was probably still going to be thinking geology exploration or chemistry, working in a lab. But embracing what is around me and collaborating with people has not just taken me, here, like in Windhoek, to come and talk about our indigenous products, but it's taken me not all over Africa, but to African countries, seeing what other young people are doing and still be further inspired. So I would like our young people to look at, keep the AFCFTA in mind, keep what you have available around you and see how you can organize yourself. Take advantage of Africa Export-Import Bank, African Development Bank, even the African peer. There's so many entities that are willing to support young people, but you just need to be organized. So let us look at this. And the AFCFTA is opening up a $6.7 trillion. These are US dollars, guys. Let's step into this money. It's free money. All right, the next slide. And yes, the way to get started is to just stop talking and begin doing. The next slide. Yeah. Yeah. So this is where we started. We built a little workspace. This is our Mangeti products, little fire extinguisher. We have 2. We have one for chemical and ordinary fire, and just some sieves. That is where we started. But we started, and we are at this stage now, and we're looking to get to greater heights, hopefully very soon. So just get started wherever you're at and take it from there.